everyone, and welcome to the first edition of Can We Just Talk with me, Mabinti Esho. What a couple of weeks it has been. I know for me personally, the past couple of weeks have been really, really difficult. Difficult because I've been trying to comprehend what's been happening, and also it's really brought up a lot of post-traumatic stress, hence why I thought, you know what, let me start a platform for women to come together and talk. So welcome to the first episode of Can We Just Talk, and today we're talking about racism, being a woman, a Black woman, and our experiences with racism, and what next for the Black Lives Matter protest. So I'll start off by introducing myself. I'm Mabinti Esho. I'm 31, nearly 32 years old. I'm a diversity manager, and an interesting fact about myself is I was on Come Dine With Me.
Really?
Yes, I was.
I love that show. I have to find the episode now. Oh my god.
Yes, I was. I cooked the gizzards. So yeah.
Really? Oh my goodness. I have to find it.
Yes. So Sally, you next actually.
Yes, I'm Saleh. I'm 25. Well, we'll be 26 on the 26th this month.
Oh.
I live in London. I worked in the Shard at one point. Coincidentally, I used to be an events coordinator at a law firm. You know, speaking about the topic of like racism and stuff, it connects really well into this topic. I no longer work there. I'm now getting into tech, so I'm studying to be, you know, a front-end developer / UX UI designer.
Rachel.
Okay, I'm Rachel. I'm 25. Live in London also. I work for an IT reseller in their sales department. Landed in IT absolutely out of nowhere. But something interesting about myself, I always hate this question. I like watching like extraction videos.
Oh, I love
those. Like spots and stuff, like pimples and things.
Yeah, the before and after.
Oh my god!
If you really want to embrace that part of you, watch the ear ones.
Sorry?
If you really want to embrace that kink of yours, and watch the ear ones. It's disgusting, but so satisfying.
Oh my god!
Like not being able to switch off, but yeah, I get that's not interesting about me, but it's, I guess, something weird that I do. But yeah, that's what I can think of at the moment.
Narai.
Hi guys, I'm Narai. I'm 32. I was born in Zambia, but my family are, I'm Zambian, Malawian, and Zimbabwean. What do I do? I'm a jack of all trades. I do a little bit of everything, but my main job is I am a childminder, so I'm a childcare provider, and I also do hair, children's hair. I specialise in children's hair, and yeah, I do a few other things. And something interesting about me, I really struggled with. Well, a fun fact, because I guess it was supposed to be something fun, or funny. And I was like, I don't know. I don't know. I really struggled with that one. I cut my hair.
Yes.
I shaved all my hair off about a week into lockdown.
Okay.
Which is, I guess something interesting about me, because my hair, I'd cut it and started a natural hair journey. And then a week, it was just all of a sudden, like my friends were like, "Is she okay?" Like, but, I don't regret it. I'm really happy. The only reason I've got this on is because I just wanted to like look a little bit like culture, and
yeah, you definitely do.
Love it. Last but certainly not least, Agnes.
Hey. Yeah, so my name is Agnes. I am 31, also soon to be 32. Heritage, I am a Nigerian living in London. I've got a quarter Sierra Leonean. That's what me and Binti bonded at primary school. So, off salon. For occupation, I am a general practice nurse. So I am not practicing to be a nurse. I work in general practice as a nurse. Yeah, for some people. And again, I hate the interesting fact about yourself, but like I have a go-to one. So my one is always, I've done a Camino, which is basically a pilgrimage where you walk 500 miles across the top of Spain from France. So yeah, that's my interesting fact.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I've got it. So nobody asked me. I just literally put that out there. That's it. Don't ask me anything else. I'm not interested. I'm dry.
Let's just get straight into it. How is everyone feeling? I'll start off with Agnes because I started off with you last time.
Okay.
So how are you feeling?
To be honest, I've been anxious these last few months, especially in lockdown, especially being on the front line. It's just been a very anxious time for me. And then on top of it, like, you get all of this sort of tension, this explosion of like all of this racial tension, because again, it's something we've been shouting for ages. I don't think this is new to anybody. I think we're all very much aware of what's happened prior. We're all aware of how we've been treated prior, but it's like very much coming to light now. And then compounded with the fact that, I'm seeing patients every day and I have to use public transport. It's just been a very anxious time for me, I think. So yeah, anxious is the best word to describe it. But and the thing is, you don't have outlets. That's my problem right now. Normally I have an outlet. I have a place to go. I have gym to go to. I have friends to see. I have, some form of outlet, and it's been very much all like compacted, and I'm not enjoying it. I'm really not enjoying it.
Having an outlet is really important, because I know for me, I'm struggling right now because I don't usually will take the kids to my mother-in-law's house, and then I'll have some me time. And I think I'm struggling more with not having that dedicated me time where I'm away from the family home and I'm away, even a train journey into work. I miss it.
Trust me, you don't want to be on the trains.
Narai, how are you feeling in this time?
I think if I was thinking about this question, but it's an easy one for me because I'm just exhausted. I'm exhausted. I am tired, like beyond. I'm tired. I'm like in every area. I'm tired emotionally. I'm tired physically. I'm tired mentally. I'm exhausted. It has been really difficult, especially the last 2 weeks. I've been working on and off during the whole time because I've got a parent that's a nurse. If I could express how I'm feeling right now, it would be exhausted in every shape, way, or form.
Yeah.
Sally, do you agree with that as well? Do you feel?
Yeah, I completely agree, and I feel like it's the perfect way to describe it, because I was explaining it to my friend as well, how emotionally exhausted I am, and the way she described it is right. Like, I feel exhausted in every kind of way, not just emotionally. And I feel like the fact that Corona happened and stuff, and the whole lockdown thing, I think the fact that everybody's under lockdown and we kind of had that kind of cabin fever kind of going crazy, I feel like that's why everything became so much more heightened in the sense. And I feel like it's been really hard.
I literally feel like all the ladies have already kind of like expressed how I've been feeling. Tired. Just tired, and maybe more personally to me, a bit. Well, the first word that comes to my mind is a bit like useless. Like, what am I doing in this time? So really trying to like be reflective and be like, okay, what can I be doing in this time?
Yeah.
Not everybody can go protest. I'm able to like, what am I doing? So just tired, and also a bit like useless at the same time, because like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, yeah, like all of you, I feel, I'm feeling angry. I'm feeling really angry at the moment. I think that's my overwhelming emotion at the moment, is anger.
Yeah,
I think I'm
definitely.
angry on several points, ways or whatever, stances. Firstly, I'm angry because not again. I'm thinking to myself, again, really? Like, have you guys not got the message yet? So I'm angry on that front. And I'm also angry as well because I'm finding that I'm having these really difficult conversations with other races that come under the BAME umbrella, but just don't understand that actually Black individuals I can't speak for America because I don't live there, but Black individuals in the UK are the most underrepresented, most discriminated against, most disrespected race or people in this country. Fact. I work in diversity, so I see, I get cases that come to me and I'm like, this is clearly racism. Covert as it may be, it's still racism, but we can't prove it. Because we can't prove it, it goes down as, oh, it's banter, oh, it was a misunderstanding, etc. So I think I'm angry, I'm disappointed, and also I feel like I'm experiencing post-traumatic stress disorder, because I now feel like I'm actually reliving all the racism I've experienced. Brings us nicely onto our own personal experiences of racism. I think I'll start off with Narai. I thought I'd start off with you, and especially because you're self-employed as well. So what have been your experiences of racism, like in the job that you do and just generally?
So in the job that I do at the moment, my childcare provider is Kiwis Care Club. So when they look at that, it's just Kiwis Care Club. But then when they look at like the manager or the person, the CEO, or like when they look at my name, like most people are going to Google it and find out that it's a Zimbabwean name. So then you're more than likely to know that that's a Black person. And I know, although I can't say I've experienced it, but I know that there has been people that have seen that I am a Black person and no, I'd rather not. But that's not a fact. However, because I'm the person, I'm the owner, I haven't really experienced it in that sense. However, I think in saying that, in the past, I've worked as a finance assistant, like my background's accounting, and I feel like any job interviews I've gone to or any jobs that I've applied for, I've felt like I've had to become somebody else. Like I can't be myself. I can't say how I feel or speak the way I would normally speak. And it's become normal. Like I do it naturally. When my parents come to the door, like I'm just a different person because it's just it's natural. That's just what I've always known. So like the way I talk, my tone, my speech, it just changes, and it's sad because you realize that you're not actually being yourself. And it is to do with the fact that if you are yourself, you're then looked on like, oh, a typical Black girl, she's this or she's that. And I think for me, I've learned a lot from that because I'm building my daughter to kind of have a voice, speak your truth. Don't shy away from your truth.
When you were speaking, I totally resonated, especially with talking about telling your daughter to be herself. in workplaces anyway, they're always saying, oh, we want you to bring your whole self to work. You know, bring your whole self. I can't bring my whole self to work.
They don't want that.
They don't want that. I think they say it in order to be, yes, we're ticking the diversity criteria, the quota, tick, tick. We've told them what they want to hear. But then when I remember the first time I wore my hair natural like this, that's different.
Like that's the main thing for me as well. I'm always telling her, you're beautiful, your hair is beautiful, your skin is amazing, and like all our family tell her all the time, because I think it's important to like really stress that, because as she grows up, she has a lot of white friends, and I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with that. My thing is to make sure you know who you are.
That's
you
right.
know who you are. You know you're just as good as another race. You're just as good as your white friends. Don't just because your hair is different. Your hair is unique. Your hair is your hair. It's amazing. Like just positive energy, positive. And just teaching about your culture, where you've come from. Like, especially with my experiences, even in school, secondary school, like I've not been myself around certain people. I'm not myself in the office. I'm not my 100% self. The person that I am right now is not the person that I am when I'm in the office. Like the person I am doing an interview, there's certain things that I might say to a friend, but I won't say in my interview because I know that because of the colour of my skin, it might jeopardise me getting the job. But I refuse to teach my child to be like that, because that's you're shying away from who you are, and you have so many opportunities. Like white privilege is real, but you can do so much. You can do so much as a black person, as a black woman, as a black queen, and it's just about embracing that into the younger generation.
You spoke about, you know, I think you just highlighted some of the microaggression, sometimes overt, actually, racism you've received.
Some of it is very overt. Yeah, absolutely. Some of it's ridiculously overt. Some of it, again, is very covert. Some of it, you have to really sit and think and be like, wait, what did you say to me? Like, you know what I mean? So again, just as a profession working in medicine by itself, in anything to do with medicine or anything to do with health, it tends to be quite, it's not scary, but it's just one of these environments where you can be, it's very polarizing for some people. Some people take it as very paternalistic, and it's like, whatever this person says, they clearly know, and that's it. Some people come to fight you, and some people don't care about what your credentials are. They're like, no, because Dr. Google said. So I generally, it's like the way that people, okay, so the way I see it is that I have like three main sort of racism like structures that I can put it in. So there's the patient, there's the colleagues, and then there's like literally the history and the actual like medical text that we read and the books that we use as our kind of foundation for treatment of people. So again, like part of my Instagram post was talking about how a lot of people will, so okay, I'll just give you a couple of like off the top of the dome kind of experiences. I used to work, when I was a student, I worked in a hospital on the outskirts of London, and there's like a high population of Filipino nurses and like Southeast Asian nurses as well. And then again, very few black people. I was probably maybe in the staff, maybe if the staff was about 4,000 people, probably less than 100 black people there. So you're noticed, and a lot of people speak to you and they're very nice like that. But I worked in theatres at one point, and there was a doctor, a black female doctor, a gynecologist, and she would, like, she's like any other doctor. I saw it and I was like, yeah, you go sis, go on, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's good to see us in like high spaces. The Filipino nurses, whenever she was on the road to come and do surgery, it's like, oh, her again. And then any little thing she does, the critique was ridiculous. Did you see her? She touched her phone. But while her scrubs was on. knowing that she's on call. Did you see her? She did this, that, the other. They would laugh at her behind her back. And I was like, why? What's wrong with her? Like, what's the problem? Because, you know, sometimes you're like, oh, maybe she's just done something really nasty to the nurses, because you think the allyship in that way with the nurses. And like, no, nothing. She just thinks she's too good. She just thinks she's better than everybody. She swans in and out. Now, if you know anything about surgeons, all of them, I don't want to swear, but all of them are idiots. All of them really think so highly of themselves. So why should she, because she's a black woman, think any less than of herself than any of her other colleagues? There was like other doctors who you literally, they don't look at you, and it's like I've seen doctors throw things at these same nurses, and they don't have the same vitriol that they had for this black doctor. And I was just like, what the hell? Yeah. Or there was another time I was working on a ward where we had a mental health patient. And on the handover sheet, it said, patient has racist and sexist views. Okay, so you got that. They hired in a mental health nurse. That was it, a black woman. I said, you people are very wild, because they said racist and sexist, and you brought a black woman, and the whole day, all you heard was, like, you know what I'm saying, just swearing, vitriol the whole day. And I was just thinking, I had to speak to her. I was like, are you okay? Are you gonna like, and she was an agency nurse, and she's like, it's fine, I'm used to it, you know, like literally spitting, fighting. I was just thinking, this man is aggressive, this man is large. There's so many other people you could have brought in to work with him, but you decided to say, yeah, I'm going to call this black woman. Nobody took into consideration what it said on that piece of paper. And it's like, again, I know a lot of us, especially as Africans, and especially as if like our parents or first generation Africans, we come here and we're like, we just have to work and just shut up. Yeah. But now it's very true. Like, again, I'm privileged enough where I was born here, so I'm like, what are you going to say to me? You can't deport me because I've got passports. You know, do you know what I mean? That a lot of a lot of us have, especially people who are working in unlike steady circumstances. So she was like, it's okay, I just need to make the money. I was like, Auntie, please, you know, that's not necessary. Not every money's good money, you know. So there's like that sort of area of it. And then, like, again, now the area that I work in is very different. I work in general practice. And again, there's a lot of trepidation from, like, my concern a lot of the time is black women. We have a lot of health conditions that are not seen to. And as part of my role, I'm supposed to advocate for my patients. I'm supposed to tell you, make sure you understand, make sure you know what you're able to access, make sure you know what your risks are, things like that. There's a lot of mistrust between patients, particularly black and minority ethnics, but I'm focusing on blacks. There's a lot of distrust. We see doctors as they're just trying to do this to us, they're just trying to do that to us. So we don't vaccinate, we don't get our smears, we don't check our breasts, and then when these things come to us, it comes to us nastier because we haven't sought out that help. We haven't had that interaction that we need. And a lot of the time, like, when you go to the doctor, I don't know about you ladies, but I'm sure I'm talking as somebody who I have at least the knowledge to advocate for myself. A lot of time you go to the doctor and you tell them what's happening, and they're very much like, well, you know, it'll go away, or, well, you know, well, you know, like, they don't explain anything, they don't give you that sort of kind of knowledge, and it's just paracetamol. So a paracetamol, literally, paracetamol fits your problem. And that insidious type of, like, we're just going to keep ignoring your problem. We're not trusting of the health system here. So again, there's racism that literally affects the lifespan of us. And that to me is so scary. So, I mean, I had an experience, again, so many, but there was a patient, and if you saw this man, I mean, he was knocking on Jesus's door. Hopefully Jesus let him in eventually, but this man was going to, he'd gone to meet the Lord soon. But again, I was put in charge of him for the day. And then, like, in terms of, like, you look at your patient, you see what their kind of past medical history. Nothing in terms of mental health, nothing in terms of, like, deterioration of mental well-being. He was sane and very like, well in terms of his cognition. He was fine. He but he was like, he was in his 90s. So I came around doing my medication rounds, and I was like, here you go, sir, can you just confirm your name? He's like, I'm not going to do that. I was like, is there any reason why in particular? He's like, well, I don't think you've got the training to do this. I said, in what way do you mean? He's like, I don't think you have got the training to do this, so I don't want to take the medication from you. So me, again, I can't take paracetamol for somebody else's headache. I said, no problem. I'll come back later. I moved. My nurse in charge on that day, she was she's a lovely girl, but she's a white girl who me and her were like maybe a year apart in age. We're very similar in terms of we had both started at the same, she started a year before me on that ward, but I worked there as a student, so I kind of knew the area. She was very much within earshot. So as I've passed this patient, she's gone back to him to ask him, and he's happy to take the medication from her. I said, that's fine. Again, I can't take paracetamol for somebody's headache, and what you do, what you eat won't make me poo, so I don't care. So so basically, as I'm going around throughout the day, I hear his children, and again, this man is like 90 plus, so his kids are solid in their 60s. His children are saying to my nurse in charge again, can you look after him? Because I think, you're like us, so you understand us a bit more. Now, never in life could I say verbatim to any of my black patients, me and you are the same, so I'm going to look after you. And again, I know, the nurse in charge, who is supposed to be making sure the ward is running smoothly, now has to put that aside to look after this one patient, because he doesn't like the Asians and he doesn't like the blacks, but he wants the white girl to help him.
Yeah.
It's just like, again, his racism was her burden. So again, I don't know if I'm really going to be like, oh, it hurt me so bad. I just, again, I can take things on the chest and keep it moving. But to me, it was almost like funny that, okay, you've done all this and now she has to deal with the burden of racism. But again, this is just one of these funny things. So again, it's a really, really weird environment to work in. I enjoy where I am now, but you still get people with the little comments like, oh yeah, the coloured lady, and I'm like, you can say black, it's fine. Oh, that black nurse did this, and it's like, okay, I have a name because I always introduce myself. I make sure to do that, and my name is very much on all of our things in my practice. So it's a really odd experience to be at work. Again, it's the covert ones are the ones where I really have to investigate and pick it out, and I don't know if I always have the time or the patience to do that. So a lot of the time I'm just like, okay, cool, just put a note on it, let this patient see somebody else because I haven't got time. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, that tends to be my experience at work. Again, a lot less obvious in general practice, but on the wards, on the outskirts of London, Jesus Christ.
From when you're in that situation whereby, somebody's being microaggressive towards you or have said something that's more covert in the workplace anyway, sometimes, it's only recently I realized that it's not okay if I'm feeling awkward about it. It's not okay if I feel uncomfortable, right?
Yeah.
But often you're sitting there thinking, wait, okay, do I really have the time to get into an argument or get into explanation as to why this is microaggressive and why this can come across racist? And B, also, I think sometimes, like I think Saleh said, it happens and then you think, wait, hold up. Did they really just say that? And then by the time that it's fully settled in, you've processed it, it's like, oh, there's no point in me bringing it up now. Do you know what I mean? So I was going to say to Rachel, because you work in a predominantly male industry, actually find sometimes that the covert or the microaggression is often masked as banter, and then when it actually lands you feel like I just don't have the time to, do you get what I mean, unpack it. And
but even the whole like IT culture itself, everything is just banter. Everything's just taken as a joke. Nothing is politically correct. Like I remember even when I had my interview, I was actually my manager kind of gave me a little bit of a warning, like, oh, that we're very different here. I didn't really know what that meant. Like, it was my first job after I graduated, so I was like, oh, different. Like, what? Like, I didn't. It didn't really hit me what that meant, because we're very. You don't take things too seriously here and things like that. And I was like, oh yeah, that's cool. Like, I'm all for that. Yeah, that's fine. No, I'm not all for that. But so okay, for example, for me, at this current workplace, so I have natural hair now, and I love my natural hair and everything like that. My colleague even said, you look, what's that? I was like, oh, you're giving me Macy Gray vibes. I was like, okay, cool. Like, she had it. I was like, cool. She's pretty. I'm fine with that. But then maybe the following week I came back with my braids, and he was like, "Oh, you took your hair out." I'm like, "No, fam." And he goes, "Oh, like why did you switch it up? What is it? Is it because this one's a bit more acceptable?" I first thought I didn't at the time. The penny didn't drop.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, acceptable? That's basically saying that my afro isn't acceptable, which is my natural hair form. And what do you want me to do? You're basically saying that that's not acceptable for work, and this is. And I just, at the end of the day, I didn't say anything. I have this stupid thing, like when I'm maybe a bit like uncomfortable, I do this stupid nervous laugh, like, yeah, but it's not really funny. I'm actually like, what the hell are you saying inside? So I kind of did that as I usually do, and was like, you know what, it's my fault, because if I wanted to come back with my afro, why didn't I do it? But because of the whole aggro that I got the previous week, I was like, yep, never again. I'm not putting myself through that, which is wrong. I don't feel like, and I feel like many of us do it. The fit in to be comfortable, because it's easier. And which is why a lot of this like uproar is just really like made me question, like, I might kind of not encouraging racism, but in this, and in a way I kind of am, and I guess I have to kind of like check myself and things that I feel like I am complicit in, change those things.
Don't you think it's a bit of survival? Like, again, being complicit sometimes. I don't believe in, like, saying, okay, everything goes. But ultimately, you have to work. This is 40 hours of your week. And it's not every day you start telling people, look, this is how my hair is. Let me come and explain everything to you. It comes out this. Sometimes complicity is just being like, look, I just want to do my job and go home.
Yeah, just getting through the day.
I think that, because we all do that and we all think that way, it makes it okay for them to ask us,
let it slide,
and and I think if we are more vocal and speak, like, it's not something you want to speak about all the time, but if we we all are talking about it, it becomes a problem, because it's known.
I think that, if I'm honest, I think that because we are ignoring these microaggressions as a collective, as in collectively Black people, because I think it stems from the fact that we are, some of us are second generation, I'm first generation Black British living in this country, and our parents generally, I think their mentality is just keep your head down, follow the law, follow the rules, don't shake the table. Do you know what I mean? Because this is not our land. So often, and this has been passed down to us, so often we're like, okay, put your head down, follow the law, follow the rules, don't shake the table. So when they're saying something about your hair, you don't want to shake the table. You don't want to, you don't want to challenge them. You just want to do the uncomfortable laugh that we've all done. And then it's still playing in your mind. You're on the bus on your way home, and it's still playing in your mind. And I think it's for us to now check those people. The same way, like Agnes said, sometimes you have to check your own biases. It's time for us to check biases of those, check those people that hold biases against us. Because I think
I feel that. Sorry, I think it's just a lot of work to do, because, again, your burden as just being a Black woman walking out in the world, full stop. Every day, the amount of burden that you have to have on you, again, people are going to question you, they're going to demean you, they're going to assume about you, they're going to do everything. Everything's placed on you constantly. My thing is, let's say natural hair. I've been natural since I was 13. I don't remember having a relaxer. So to me, having to explain my hair is a moot point, because I'm like, you see me as I am. You see me with the extensions. Like, my sister's probably the one I love the most, because every week her hair's different. And she's like, like, again, it's not, to me, I feel like in 2020, when Dr. Google, Googleisha, our homegirl Google is over there, you can literally go on YouTube and there's beautiful, wonderful
right.
You have literally sat down, put a video on, done exactly what I've done to my hair. And again, if you want to know what it is, I can tell you. I will point you in the direction. I know all of the YouTubers, trust me, I've got your back. But ultimately, I'm not coming to tell you that. If you like my hair, give me the compliment and keep it moving. I'm not coming to explain my hair to you. I'm not coming to explain my existence to you, because I have done too much work already to get here. And so these little tiny microaggressions, and I understand for some of us it is like too much to endure. And sometimes it's like, if they're asking constantly, you have the kind of either the option to be the ever loving, here you go, here's all the extra work that I'm going to give you on explaining to you why my needs comes out like this, or you have the angry, no, don't touch my hair, like I don't want you to, what would you know what I mean? So it's like I live in that middle part where I'm not coming to do the work for you. If you're asking me in an earnest manner, then we can talk about it in terms of here. So if you go to Cisco on YouTube, she does this really good tutorial of how to get your hair like this. Probably won't work for you because your hair's a bit, a bit more slippery, but you can try it. Do you know what I mean? I'm gonna keep it there because it's just too much work I have already to do, and to keep my own peace, I'm like an advocate of maintain your peace, because again, hypertension is coming for us all if we don't keep careful. If we're not careful, it's, you know what I mean? So I'm such an advocate of keep your peace and let them worry about their own something. If you've got questions, again, Google is your friend. Who has it? So I understand the kind of what we've got going on in terms of, again, working in a male-dominated area, Rachel. And men are very interesting when it comes to noticing things.
I was going to ask Sally, you worked in a very corporate environment in law, as an event coordinator for a law firm, and I know working in a law firm is very corporate. I know there's certain ways they want you to dress, certain ways they want you to look. So how did you cope in that environment being a Black woman?
They told me to change my hair. Well, I guess my first couple months and my interview, I think my hair was in braids, I think, at the time. And then I came in with like a different set of braids, kind of like an ombre, black, and then like a bit of color at the ends, and it's curly at the ends. The woman came in. She comes in every other week, and she's all smiley to my face. And then next thing, my line manager pulls me to the side, for a one-to-one meeting, saying, you have to change your hair. What was the word he used? It's not policy, or what's the word?
It's not corporate.
Conservative. It has to be conservative. And it was like, and so you have to change it as soon as possible. And it was the fact that I think it'd been about a month. It's been a whole month I've wore these braids. It was really a double-edged sword, because not only that, beforehand, I had a lot of people putting their hands in my hair. Like, oh wow, this is amazing. And there was even one woman playing with it like a cat would play with a ball of string, like that, because I had it in like a ponytail. And it was the point where I'd have to kind of strategically place myself with my back facing this way, and if I see somebody, I distance myself, because I can see them getting closer. I see them approaching me, wanting to touch my hair. I was like, and I'm slowly backing off, because I know that's what they're trying to do. And it's like, oh, it's so nice. It's like, yeah, it's good. And it was just really frustrating, because it's like almost everyone had their hand in my hair. And it was that case where, like you were saying, you didn't want to disturb the peace. And also the fact that I am a Black woman. I don't want to be perceived as like the angry Black woman that's rowdy and causing a scene. So I kind of had to like grin and bear it, and swallow my pride and just let it happen. But deep down, I was dying inside. And and it's the worst feeling, because you go home and you just beat yourself up about it. Like, why didn't I say anything? I should have said something. And like, you really want to say something, but you feel like you can't. And
what can we do? What should we have done in those situations? So Nurai, what do you think we need to do, other speaking up, and how can we get to that place?
I think making Black history a compulsory conversation in a workplace, a compulsory subject in schools, nurseries, childminders, like making it like part of like what I get Ofsted comes to assess me every couple of years, and there's certain things that you have to implement in the development of a child. There's 7 areas of learning that you have to include in your everyday learning, and I think Black history needs to be one of them. Like, how do you Black history? How do you make sure your children learn about Black history, about Black people, about slavery, about, and I think in doing that, it becomes it takes away the uncomfortableness of having the discussions. So it becomes easier to speak your truth. It becomes more real. Like it becomes realistic to everyone. So everyone talks about it. It's not an uncomfortable conversation to have. And also just in your homes, like both white, Black, all races, like just teach it to your children, family, teaching them to not be afraid of the consequences of speaking up. Don't be afraid, because actually the mental, what it will do to you in the long run, not speaking up, is worse than what it will do to you.
Precisely.
If you speak
so true.
you might lose your job, but at the end of it, you know that you are an activist for what you believe in. You chose to speak what you believe in. You chose to speak your truth. You chose to don't be brave. Like this is who you are. Fight for rights. It shouldn't be a sugar-coated conversation where talk about this and that, like this is not an appropriate time. It should just be normal. It should it definitely does start from the home. And teaching it at home, all races, just teaching, being kind to it. It's not about the colour of your skin.
So when it comes to speaking up, one, I am I'm the sweetest person you'll ever meet when I've got a problem with you. I promise you, you're going to come back and you're going to be apologising like you've never seen. You like, again, killing people with kindness has really worked. Because again, when you question, when people say something to you, they'll be like, "Oh, really? Why would you say that?" A lot of the time, they can't answer you. There's no thought behind it. It's just the racism straight out. And when you make them think about it, it takes a lot of time for them to come back to you with a solid answer that actually can justify their foolishness. And then in terms of like practical ways to speak up for yourself, again, anger is such an easy one for us to access, and I believe accessing anger is a beautiful thing, because a lot of time we will suppress stuff, but ultimately if you are going to be in this environment for a long time, you have to really like think about, am I going to be here for a long time? What's the benefit going to be for myself? If I do this right now, what are the consequences going to be? A lot of time, like, advocacy for people and for people like me is really important to me. Today, I had to go to one of the managers. I'm coming with an understanding. I'm coming with everything is ready. So you can't come and confute anything that I'm saying or refute anything I'm saying that anything's wrong. I come prepared. I come with my work. I come and I tell you, this is a problem, and this is the solution, and this is the solution. So you've got options. So if you choose not to do anything about it, you're being purposely like, basically mean. You're being horrible. You're literally not ignoring me, because I've come to you with a problem. I've come to you with a solution. You chose not to action that, and now I'm going to go above you. So ultimately, you can't come at me. I'm a by the book type of girl, and then once I've gone by the book, you're gonna feel. If you don't hear, you'll feel. So that's just what I wanted to say. And yeah, Black Lives Matter. Black lives do matter, but also Black History Month forever. Let's not get rid of that.
What next for Black Lives Matter? What next for us as a race? What next? What are we gonna do next?
There are loads of promotion of Black businesses, and I think we should definitely continue to do that, because I've come across so many different types of Black businesses themselves, and I'm sure you've heard of Black Wall Street in America, and how there was a point in time where Black people were sufficient self-sufficient and had their own businesses and didn't have to go out, and they had their own towns and their own money. So I feel like we can recreate that here in the UK and the US. And I feel like we have to keep being for each other, lifting each other up, and having more connections, like, you know, like even like this live feed, being able to discuss, you know, our topics and discussions, and spreading that out there. And just making it known, because I feel like even with the Black Lives Matter and the George Floyd case, I feel like a lot of people and countries are pointing the finger at America, when Black people get mistreated in every single country you can think of. I'm sure
we do need to mobilize more. I think we need to organize ourselves better, where we are more financially solid, we're more self-sufficient financially. But Narai, what do you think? What next?
Just trying to process it alone is something. So my overall, I don't know, but for myself, I think it's just about educating ourselves. As a community, Black people need to support each other a lot more. And support doesn't always mean spending money. There's so many people who can support each other, and I think that in doing that, eventually, as a community, as a race, like, you'll see the benefits from that, and hopefully, slowly, become see a change, learning more about my race, learning more, teaching, speaking to other people. It's mainly educating, and speaking out, and positively as well. You are enough. You are enough.
That's why I haven't spoken up. It's because I feel like I'm going to be looked as like problematic. And also the fact that how do you prove it? It's like my word and my feelings.
So it's so tiny.
Like, how do you prove that kind of thing? So but like, there's no point speaking up. But I think now this whole uproar and everything just made me think that if I don't feel comfortable and I am genuinely upset, speak up. But then I started to think, like, what in my workplace, like, how would I do that? Because I almost feel like speaking up to you're the kind. Well, not you're the kind, but I also feel that you have the same. Not feel. I know sometimes I've had an attack from you as well. So it's always like I'm how do I explain it? I just don't feel like speaking up. I don't have a platform of speaking up in my workplace to people that I think would listen. Would understand. So when I thought about that, I don't know about other workplaces or organizations, if a lot of their staff feel the same way. I thought maybe there needs to be, like, you know how in school where there was like, oh, call this helpline if I was like, maybe there needs to be a helpline for wanting to, like, vent or talk about how you feel at work and things like that. So I thought maybe that could be something that could be implemented if it isn't. Education, definitely, we've already spoken about that. And also educating kids at home, because, like, we all know that racism, you're not born racist. I remember back in primary school, the first situation that I had with racism is that there was a boy that he had thrown a don't say his name. There was a birthday party, and he was giving invitations out and everything. And I was like, oh, where's mine, kind of thing. I thought, we're all friends in school. In primary school, you invite everyone. Class, everybody gets invited. I wasn't now invited. And I was like, oh, Charlie, like, why didn't you invite me? Oh, yeah, because my mum doesn't like Black people. And at the time, I'm just like, I didn't think of it as racism. I'm just upset because I can't go to the party. I come home now, I'm upset. My mum's like, what's wrong? Charlie didn't invite me to his party. Why? Because he said that, I was like, he said that his mum doesn't like Black people. my mum's face changed. I remember like her whole demeanor changing.
Yeah.
I was just upset that I'm not going to the party, but she's whatever. But again, like thinking back about it now, he didn't say that because he believed that. It's because that's what
his
mum said. Yeah.
The environment that he's growing up in. So it's about making sure that in the home, like you're talking about these things, and teaching, and even as like Black people ourselves, like, you know, I've heard even in Black communities where we say some like racist remarks or have these stereotypes about white people, Asians, anything like that. We have to be careful around like kids, because it's planting seeds that you don't know what kids have in. Some white people's homes where these seeds have been planted and these people have grown up with those seeds, and it's just grown into you kill someone because of their race. So yeah, that's what I would just say on that.
Yeah. Agnes.
Yes, ma'am. All right. So again, I like practical steps. So one that we spoke about, the Black books that you were speaking about, explaining things to them, but ultimately centering yourself, centering your Blackness. That is know that I am the norm, you are the norm. Because to me, growing up, the most beautiful person in the world, and still is my mum. You can't tell me. My mum's like, all of these supermodels who can never stand next to my mother. You could never. You wish you could. So again, if I can see my mum as the most beautiful woman in the world, why am I not beautiful? Yeah. If I see my siblings as the smartest people in the world, why can't I be smart too? So you have to center and normalize everything that is Blackness. You make it radically normal in your house. So there's nothing you can't dispute my Blackness. There's nothing that I can feel ashamed of in my Blackness once it's centered. That's one thing. Two, we have to we have a really big thing that we have on our hands that we don't utilize. We have, unfortunately, we've had to assimilate. And by assimilating, we're very much aware of what whiteness is. We know whiteness inside out. We know more about white people than about themselves, because white people never had to identify as whiteness because they see themselves as the norm. So what you do is you turn it, you flip on its head. So in spaces where you are not the majority, you know how to talk to them. You know how to use their language, and you speak to them on their level. And that way they, again, a lot of people, they'll hear, oh yeah, you speak like me, we're the same. But you need to make sure you remember at the back of your mind that ultimately, I know more about you than you know about me. So either I'm going to implant and just continue to give you a good vision of what I am. And at the same time, I don't believe in trying to appease other people or trying to speak to them to see me as human. I should never have to explain my humanity to anybody. But we need to ask for equity, not equality. We need equity, because equality is really nice and everybody gets the same thing. What we need is equity. There's a petition going on right now. I don't know if anybody's seen it. It's for there's a ethnicity-based report on wages and pay gap. So if you lot can sign that, because we need equity. There's no point in you giving Simon £50 and you give me £10 and we're doing the same job. And I get it. I know there's a number of factors that come into it, but ultimately, for instance, in nursing, nursing is such a weird one where it's a predominantly female role. But when you do have men in there, they very quickly rise to higher ranks. The ward that I was on, there was 2 men, and by the time I finished, they were both band 6s and band 7s. So how does that make sense when there's a plethora of 24 women and the 2 men were the ones that are at the higher top? It doesn't make sense. So we have to ask for equity. We have to ask for radical Blackness, and saying that it's so normal that when people are like, oh, why is yours? So it's why is your hair this way? Why is your hair that way? You need to make sure your children understand that there's nothing abnormal about them. And again, the beauty of us is that we can do so much to kind of boost ourselves up. So in terms of hair's a big thing for us. But as a kid, do you know what my favorite thing was? There's little bubbles at the end of my hair. And the girls in the school, they used to come and ask me for one at the end of it, because they used to try to slip it in their hair and they wouldn't stay in. So that to me, I was like, you can't talk to me. Also, I want to say that what we do as Black people, a lot of the time, it goes back to the point of this BMA thing. We do a lot of the work. We do a lot of the this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. And a lot of people expect us to do our work and to do their work as well. So again, I believe that everyone should be able to shout for themselves. So by doing your work, you're empowering yourself, but don't be swayed from, oh yeah, but this Asian thing is needing to talk about this other thing. We can do intersectionality, that's fine, but again, I have to shout for myself. I'll shout for myself first, and I'm going to make space to shout for you too, but I can't come and shout for you. So center yourself is ultimately the thing that I want to say. Center yourself, again, work with what you've got. And another one is, final one, is bring people in. Make space for us. Make space for us. So like in my workplace, when I first started there, I was the only black person. There was one female Asian doctor, and the rest of the doctors are white, and the rest of the administrative staff was all white. Since I've got there, I've made sure that all the other nurses that have been hired after me have been black. I've made sure that there's at least one other POC. He's mixed race, but he's still a person of color. Again, mixed race is a whole other discussion. But it's like when you show, look, first of all, I'm no different. In fact, I'm better. I make it like you're never going to tell me that I'm like, oh, I'm substandard. I'm always going to do better. And again, people underestimate us, they use it. When they underestimate you, you don't have to work as hard, please. If they underestimate you, you're just doing a little bit more than what they think is already that you're doing a lot. So imagine your full potential. When you want to come and do razzle dazzle, then go for it. But ultimately, work with what you've got. Figure out what they know about you and then use it to your advantage. And again, bring people in, make space for yourself, and shout. That's all I want to say.
Yeah, I've learned a lot today. I've learned that obviously it's not, for me personally, it's not my responsibility to educate you. If the same way I've had to go and do research I researched about Sierra Leone. I had to do that research myself so I could understand my heritage, so I could pass it down. And I think it's for the oppressor, be it white person, whoever you are, to go back and research. If you want to know about black people, go and research about us, find us and ask us meaningful questions. Don't ask us questions with the hopes of trying to embarrass us or like it's banter, etc. If you want to know about my hair, ask me genuinely. So what do you do to your hair? Not, did you just wake up like that, or where was it before? Was it hiding? Or do you know
how do you say hello in African?
Yeah, how is it? Like one time, one guy said to me, "Are you wearing a syrup?" I was like, "It's okay. I'm gonna call it a syrup. That's what it is." So I think it's also about hitting them with the facts as well. Often I find that we are quite emotional, and we're emotional because we're tired because we repeat the same things over and over again. So we come in with either anger or we're defensive already, hence why they now think all black people are angry, etc. So I think hitting them with facts and trying to be as objective as possible. I think also for me, I'm very much for getting rid of BAME, Black, Asian, Minority, Ethnic, or people of color. I don't like those terms. I know my experience as a black woman is different to any of your experiences here. Black women, not so much so as an Asian individual, or somebody because Spain, or somebody from Albania, or any other ethnic. So we need to own our stories, we need to own our experiences, and we need to Norai was saying, we need to be authentic, and we just need to be ourselves and try and bring our whole selves to wherever we are, because we are special, we are magic, just like Jesse Williams said. Is it Jesse Williams? It is, right? Yeah. Jesse Williams said that we are magic, and we are. And I think this is the time, Black Lives Matter. If anything, for me, I would like, at the end of all of this, to have a next generation, this current generation that are doing gang wars and post-Cold Wars or whatever, to actually think, what are we fighting about? We're fighting about land that doesn't belong to us. It's time for us to fight about land that is ours. Let's go and buy this land. I'm praying that this, or Black Lives Matter protest movement, actually affirms the next generation more, so that they can do better, so that they don't have to fight this fight, or they don't have to worry about wearing their afro hair to work, that they're just able to do it. I just want to thank you all. Actually, thank you ladies so much for coming on tonight. We've been on here for ages, just chatting, gisting, but thank you so much for being vulnerable, coming on here and sharing your experiences. I know it's not easy, especially having to relive some of those experiences, racist experiences, racism, etc. So I just want to thank you all, Rachel, Saleh, Agnes, Narai. Thank you for taking time out of your family, out of your lives, to come and do this Zoom pre-recorded. And yeah, so thank you everyone for tuning in to Can We Just Talk, our Black Lives Matter edition. Yeah, if you have any questions, please drop them down in the comments, and I will be back soon with another topic, hopefully. So take care, thank you, and see you soon.